Hello friends, and welcome to your weekly TarotScopes with me, Intuitive Rene. Although this week, there will be no TarotScopes, but you will have some inspiration for the week ahead, so welcome. So this morning, it is the day, or the time of recording this video is Sunday, I have to look, the 9th of July. And I have just got home from being at one of the local spiritualist churches where I had the honor and privilege of giving the address and giving some messages, some psychic demonstrations. And I was clever enough to record the address. So I have the address. It is a 12-minute recording of the message that came through from Spirit for the congregation, and I thought I would share it with you. I unfortunately have had a crazy busy week, crazy busy weekend, and I just have not had the time to record the TarotScopes, and I thought I would come home and record them, but my family had other plans. So instead of leaving you with nothing, I thought I would share this address with you, to just inspire you and to help you through the next 7 days. And then next week we will be back to normal with TarotScopes, back to normal with everything else. So you can put the headphones on, you can listen. Like I said, it is a 12-minute recording, and I think the topic, the whole message that came through was actually very interesting and very relevant, I think, for all of us. So I do hope that you enjoy. Comment below and let me know if you did enjoy it. I'm going to try and put something on the screen just so that you have something to watch, or something to distract you while you listen, because it is just an audio recording. And like I said, I do hope that you enjoy. And until we connect again next week, take care. So good morning, friends. Good morning, good morning. Thank you so much for having me here. It has been an incredible amount of time since I was last on platform anywhere. So I'm very nervous, very scared, very nervous. I am driving here this morning. I'm not somebody who prepares. I'm not somebody that likes to have too much of structure. I tend to break free from structure, and I tend to step away from structure a little bit. So driving up here this morning, I was sort of saying to my dudes, I call my spirit guides the dudes, I refer to them collectively that way. And I sort of said to them, what are we talking about? Like, I need a topic, I need a something, because I hadn't planned anything. I was here yesterday teaching a tarot class, so I was busy. And then last night I was busy, so I had no time to prepare. I've had an incredibly busy week. So driving up this morning from Cowie's Hill, I'm saying to the dudes, give me something, because I'm nervous. What happens if I get up here and I've got nothing to say? What happens if nothing comes through? And all I got was a topic. And the topic that Spirit gave me this morning was Judgment and Perspectives. And the reading was all about judgment and perspectives. Conversation I had with Sharon before service was about judgment and perspectives. So yeah, clearly it's what needs to be discussed and what needs to be said. What I'm hearing from Spirit at this time is that we've been raised, we've been brought up to not judge. We keep being told, don't judge others, don't judge yourself, don't judge others, be very aware of judgment. Because it's a negative thing, it's a bad thing, and we must not do it. But let's be honest, we're human. And to be human is to judge. What is judge? What is judgment? It is comparison. So when we judge somebody, what we're doing is we're comparing them, their circumstance, their situation with our own. And we are judging ourselves because we're not like them, or we're judging them because they're not in the way we think is correct. Because that's what judgment is. And this is where perspectives comes in, because if you go to a coffee shop with a friend, and you're sitting obviously at the same coffee shop at the same time, and you both order a cappuccino. So you're sitting across from each other. There is a table in between you. You're both having a cappuccino from the same coffee shop at the same time. Everything is identical. But your perspectives of the situation is completely different, isn't it? Because you're looking at your friend who's directly in front of you, and you're seeing whatever is behind your friend in the coffee shop. Your friend is looking at you and seeing whatever is behind you in the coffee shop. Just like our perspective right now is different. I'm looking at you, you're looking at me, we're seeing completely different things, but we're in the same place, we're hearing the same thing, we're doing the same thing, but our perspectives are completely different. And every single one of you looking at me is at a different angle. So your view, there might be some similarities, but there are also some differences. We've got Brian over here who's doing ostrich, giraffe. He's like trying to look around a pillar. His perspective is completely different. So who are we to judge? anybody else's perspective on a situation. Do you understand? Because each one is experiencing their reality, and their reality is different from yours. So as a human, we tend to fall into this trap of judgment. We tend to fall into, and then we go, oh, but I mustn't judge. Because if I judge, I'm not spiritual. If I judge, I'm not a good person. But it's about understanding perspective. It's about understanding the differences that we all experience in life. And when we look at another person and realize that their perspective is just different from ours, suddenly the judgment doesn't become so aggressive and negative, and suddenly it puts everything into perspective and puts everything into balance. And then we can actually start having conversations that need to take place. But when we're just saying, you're wrong, I'm right, how do we ever have conversations? We don't. That's when we just fight. Does that make sense to you? So when you find yourself, when you catch yourself being in judgment with another person, when you catch yourself saying something about another person in judgment, just remind yourself, hold a second, what is the perspective here? Especially when you have an argument with a loved one. And we do that, don't we? It happens. It's being human. When you have a disagreement or an argument with somebody, the judgment is coming in because of incorrect or different perspectives. So we need to understand where the other person is seeing, where the other person is coming from. And it's not about changing yourself to their perspective. It's just about understanding. And that's what it means to be spiritual. Spiritual is not about getting everybody on the same page. It's about recognizing the differences, acknowledging the differences, accepting the differences, and realizing that we're all coexisting in the same way. That song we're just saying, I believe in angels. We have to believe in angels, and not just the ethereal spiritual angels, but the angels of you and I, the angels of all of us. And that's why Gary said the energy that's coming off from you guys is absolutely amazing, because each one of you have come here with love, come here with an open heart, and come here to give beautiful energy. So we're all giving beautiful energy, and we're all receiving beautiful energy without judgment. Or is it? Because there's always judgment. You might be sitting there looking at me with my purple hair, judging it, thinking, oh, I would never do that. And that's okay. You don't have to do it. It's about understanding that our uniqueness and our difference and the fact that we are all so different is what makes us all so fabulous and so wonderful. And that's what adds to the energy. That's what adds to. So we need to understand perspectives, and we need to understand that judgment is never going away. As a human being, while you take breath, you are going to judge. When you're driving in your car and somebody cuts you off, you are going to judge them. It may be a split second before you bring yourself back into reality, before you bring yourself, no, I mustn't do that. But you're going to do it. So if you keep trying to not do it, you actually put pressure on yourself. And it becomes a whole negative cycle. And that's where we go down that deep, dark rabbit hole of negativity. But if we just accept we're going to judge, be angry in that moment, be frustrated, be whatever, judge, and then move on from that. Recognize what you've said, recognize what you've experienced, and move on. Don't stay in that moment, because that's the mistake that we all make. But understanding the perspective of another person is the answer to happiness, the answer to love, the answer to coexisting. When we put ourselves in that place and understand the perspective, suddenly everything is different. Suddenly everything is easier, clearer, and suddenly we can heal from the trauma and the pain that we're carrying around. So trauma and pain is because of not understanding. It's not understanding, why did that happen to me? Why did that happen? Why did that person need to experience that? But again, perspectives and the judgment just make it easier to get to the truth, to get to the core, so that we can heal, so that we can recover, so that we can be stronger. But understanding that as a human being, you will always judge. You will always compare yourself against another. And that's not necessarily bad. It's not necessarily wrong. But it's when you keep doing it as a negative to yourself or to another person, that's when the evil creeps in. That's when the bad creeps in. But when you acknowledge and then change and recognize, okay, it's just a perspective issue, everything is okay. We also need to understand, I'm hearing from Spirit now, about memories. So we've all got memories. We've all lived a life. We all have things that have happened to us in the past. Again, your memory of a situation versus somebody else's memory of that same situation are going to be different because of perspectives. And it's often those skewed perspectives of a memory that cause conflict in relationships, in families. And that brings on, again, the judgment. So we need to learn to not be so quick to be hard on ourselves and to just remind ourselves of the perspective between us and everybody else. And when we do that, suddenly our hearts open and we're in a better place for love. So if you have conflict with anybody in your life right now, if you have any kind of a challenging, difficult situation with anybody in your life right now, just change the perspective. Look at it like, what are they hearing? What are they seeing? What are they feeling? What are they going through? How is it different from what you're going through? And then your reaction, your response will be a lot easier, simpler, and you will find that the two of you will be able to get through, get over, work through whatever it is that you need to. But trying to let go of judgment and trying to stop yourself from judging is an impossible task. And it's one that puts pressure on you that we don't need. You know, life is so difficult and complicated as it is, isn't it? It's so fast. I mean, to think that we're already February, listen to me. I'm still in February. What are we now? July, August. We're already in July. I mean, where did this year go? And I don't know about you, but I've been busy, but I don't feel as if I've achieved anything. I don't feel as if I've done the things I wanted to. And that feeling is again back to judgment, isn't it? Now I'm judging myself because what have you done? You should have done. You were supposed to have done. By now you should have accomplished. By now you should have whatever. And I don't, therefore I'm judging. But again, I need to put myself into perspective and say, but hold a second. You had all of these other things come up that weren't on the plan, that weren't allocated or judged or ready for, and you dealt with that. So yes, you haven't done this, but you've done that. Perspective, lack of judgment on the self. But I can't believe that time is just going so quickly, and I don't see anybody sitting and doing nothing. I had a conversation with my friend this morning saying that she came here because she needed an hour to just sit. Because we don't do that, do we? We're too busy. And if we do take an hour to sit, the judgment comes in because now suddenly judging yourself because you sat and did nothing for an hour, you lazy person. The judgment comes in. But we actually need to sit and do nothing. We actually need some stillness. We need to sit with our thoughts, to sit with our emotions, to sit with our circumstances without judgment. And to allow ourselves to catch up with ourselves. I'm sure all of you, as soon as you finished here, are going to rush off, and I use the word rush on purpose, because you've got things to do. Just going to quickly rush into the shop. I'm going to quickly go and visit that person. I'm quickly going to wash the dishes. I'm quickly going to, and you're actually doing so much, but what you're not doing is giving time to you. So thank you for being here. Thank you for spending an hour in stillness. Thank you for spending an hour just listening and opening yourself up to hear whatever the message is that comes through. Because again, the message I'm saying and the message you're hearing may be very different based on your perspective, based on what's happening in your life, based on your reality in this moment. And I hope that the message that you've heard is exactly the one that you needed to hear. And I hope it's just helped you to just shift your focus, to shift your judgment ever so slightly, so that you can continue to glow, to shine, and to be the person you are meant to be. We have all been placed on this earth for a reason. And every single one of you has an amazing purpose, an amazing life to live, so much to offer, so much to share with everybody around you. So shine your light without judgment of self and without judgment of how it's going to be received. Give the message, give your energy, without judgment, without expectation, allowing it to be received in whichever way it needs to, based on the perspective of the other person. Friends, thank you so much. Thank you so much for listening to me. Thank you so much for having me here. And I wish you all well. Thank you.